Belo Horizonte, Portuguese pronunciation, ʻbɛloɾiˈzõtʃi, beautiful horizon, is the 6th largest city in Brazil, the 13th largest city in South America and the 18th largest city in the Americas. The metropolis is anchor to the Belo Horizonte metropolitan area, ranked as the 3rd most populous metropolitan area in Brazil and the 17th most populous in the Americas. Belo Horizonte is the capital of the state of Minas Gerais, Brazil's 2nd most populous state. It is the first planned modern city in Brazil. The region was first settled in the early 18th century, but the city as it is known today was planned and constructed in the 1890s, in order to replace Ouro Preto as the capital of Minas Gerais. The city features a mixture of contemporary and classical buildings, and is home to several modern Brazilian architectural icons, most notably the Pampulha Complex. In planning the city, Aarão, Reis and Francisco Bicalho sought inspiration in the urban planning of Washington, D.C. The city has employed notable programs in urban revitalization and food security, for which it has been awarded international accolades. The city is built on several hills and is completely surrounded by mountains. There are several large parks in the immediate surroundings of Belo Horizonte. The Mangabeira Park, Parque das Mangabeiras, located 6 kilometers, 4 miles, southeast from the city center in the hills of Coral Ridge. Serra de Coral has a broad view of the city. It has an area of 2.35 square kilometers, 580 acres, of which 0.9 square kilometers, 220 acres, is covered by the native forest. The Jambeiro Woods, Mata de Jambeiro, nature reserve extends over 912 hectares, 2,250 acres, with vegetation typical of the Atlantic forest. More than 100 species of birds inhabit the reserve, as well as 10 different species of mammals. Belo Horizonte was one of the host cities of the 1950 and the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Additionally, the city shared the host of the 2013 FIFA Confederations Cup. Geography. Surrounding cities and metropolitan area. The term Grande BH, Greater Belo Horizonte, denotes any of various definitions for the metropolitan area of Belo Horizonte. The legally defined metropolitan region of Belo Horizonte consists of 34 municipalities in total, and a population of around 5 million inhabitants, as of 2007. According to IBGE, the intense process of urbanization that is taking place in the metropolitan region has made some of the political boundaries between municipalities in the region obsolete. The city is now composed of a relatively contiguous urban area, centered on Belo Horizonte, which extends out into municipalities such as Contagem, Betim, Nova Lima, Raposos, Ribeirão das Neves, Ibirite, Santa Luzia and Sabra, among others. The municipality bounded to the north by Vespasiano, to the northeast by Santa Luzia, by Sabra to the east, by Nova Lima to the southeast, Brumadinho to the south and Ribeirão das Neves, Contagem and Ibirite to the west. Geology and geomorphology. Belo Horizonte lies on a region of contact between different geological series of the Proterozoic. The geology largely comprises various crystalline rocks, which give rise to the varied morphology of the landscape. It is located in a large geological unit known as the Craton of San Francisco, referring to extensive crustal nucleus of central eastern Brazil, tectonically stable at the end of the Paleoproterozoic and bordering areas that suffered the regeneration at the Neoproterozoic. The Archean rocks, members of Belo Horizonte complex and supercrustal sequences of the Paleoproterozoic is predominant. The area of Belo Horizonte complex includes the geomorphological unit called Depression of Belo Horizonte, which represents about 70% of the municipality area and has its greatest expression in the northern Ribeirão Arrudas stream pipeline. The metasedimentary rocks has its area of occurrence on the south of Ribeirão Arrudas pipeline, constituting about 30% of the area of Belo Horizonte. The characteristics of this area are lithological diversities and rugged topography, which has its maximum expression in the Serra de Coral Ridge, the southern boundary of the municipality. Its soil comprises a succession of layers of rocks of varied composition, represented by itabarite, dolomite, quartzite, phyllites and schists different from the general direction northwest-southeast and dip to the southeast. The hills of Belo Horizonte are part of the Espinhaço Mountains and belong to the larger Itacolumi mountain chain. The highest point in the municipality is in the Serra de Coral, reaching 1,538 meters, 5,046 feet. Climate: Belo Horizonte's latitude at 19 feet 55 inches south places it in the tropical zone. Yearly temperatures average between 9 and 35 degrees Celsius, 48 and 95 degrees Fahrenheit. The Köppen climate classification of the region is tropical savanna climate, and it borders on a humid subtropical climate. CWA, tropical, on high altitudes, humid, warm summers and a dry, mild winters. Belo Horizonte is located about 300 kilometers, 190 miles, from the sea. Even though interseasonal differences are not as pronounced as they are in temperate places, there is a contrast between spring and summer, and between fall and winter. The coldest month is generally July, with the lowest recorded temperature of 2 degrees Celsius, 36 degrees Fahrenheit. The hottest month is usually January, with the highest recorded temperature of 37.4 degrees Celsius, 99 degrees Fahrenheit. The 852-meter (2,795 feet) elevation of Belo Horizonte helps a little in cooling the city, suppressing high maximum air temperatures experienced in nearby cities at lower altitudes. Belo Horizonte's climate is mild throughout the year. Temperatures vary between 11 and 31 degrees Celsius, 52 and 88 degrees Fahrenheit, the average being 22 degrees Celsius, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Winter is dry and mostly sunny, and summer is rainy. History: the metropolis was once a small village, founded by João Leite da Silva Ortiz, a bandeirante explorer from São Paulo. The explorer settled in the region in 1701. Leaving a gold rush expedition, he then established a farm called Curral del Rei, archaic Portuguese for the King's Corral, which in modern Portuguese would be spelled Curral de Rei. The farm's wealth and success encouraged people from surrounding places to move into the region, and Curral del Rei became a village surrounded by farms. Another important factor contributing to the growth of the village was the number of migrants from the São Francisco River region, who had to pass through Curral del Rei in order to reach southern parts of Brazil. Travelers usually visited a small wooden chapel, where they prayed for a safe trip. Due to this fact, the chapel was named Capela da Nossa Senhora da Boa Viagem, which means Chapel of Our Lady of the Good Journey. After the construction of Belo Horizonte, the old Baroque chapel was replaced by a neo-Gothic church which became the city's cathedral. The previous capital of Minas Gerais, Ouro Preto, meaning black gold, due to dark rocks with gold inside found on the region. Originally called Vila Rica, wealthy village, was a symbol of both the monarchic Brazilian Empire and the period when most of Brazilian income was due to mining, and that never pleased the members of the Inconfidência Mineira, Republican intellectuals who conspired against the Portuguese dominion of Brazil. In 1889, Brazil became a republic, and it was agreed that a new state capital, in tune with a modern and prosperous Minas Gerais, had to be set. In 1893, due to the climatic and topographic conditions, Curral del Rey was selected by Minas Gerais Governor Afonso Pena among other cities as the location for the new economical and cultural center of the state, under the new name of Cidade de Minas, or City of Minas. Aarão Reis, an urbanist from the state of Pará, was then set to design the second planned city of Brazil. The first one is Teresina, and then Cidade de Minas was inaugurated finally in 1897, with many unfinished constructions as the Brazilian government set a deadline for its completion. Inhabitation of the city was subsidized by the local government, through the concession of free empty lots and funding for building houses. An interesting feature of Reis' downtown street plan for Belo Horizonte was the inclusion of a symmetrical array of perpendicular and diagonal streets named after Brazilian states and Brazilian indigenous tribes. In 1906, the name was then changed to Belo Horizonte, and at that time the city was experiencing a considerable industrial expansion that increased its commercial and service sectors. From its very beginning, the city's original plan prohibited workers to live inside the urban area, which was defined by Avenida de Contorno, a long avenue which goes around the city's central areas, reserved for the public sector functionaries. Hence the name of the still trendy neighborhood, Funcionarios, and bringing about an accelerated occupation outside the city's area, well provided with infrastructure since its very beginning. Obviously, the city's original planners did not count on its population growth afterwards, which proved especially intense in the last 20 years of the 20th century. In the 1940s, a young Oscar Niemeyer designed the Pampulha neighborhood to great acclaim, a commission he got thanks to then-mayor, soon-to-be President Juscelino Kubitschek. These two men are largely responsible for the wide avenues, large lakes, parks and jutting skylines that characterize the city today. Belo Horizonte is fast becoming a regional center of commerce. The Latin American Research and Development Center of Google, situated in Belo Horizonte, was responsible for the management and operation of the former social networking website Orkut. It continues to be a trendsetter in the arts, particularly where music, literature, architecture and the avant-garde are concerned. Demographics. According to the 2010 IBGE census, there were 2,258,096 people residing in the city of Belo Horizonte. The census revealed the following numbers: 1,110,034 white people, 46.7%. 995,167 Pardo, multiracial people, 41.9%. 241,155 black people, 10.2%. 25,270 Asian people, 1.1%. 3,477 Amerindian people, 0.1%. In 2010, the city had 428,893 opposite-sex couples and 1090 same-sex couples. The population of Belo Horizonte was 53.1% female and 46.9% male. The metropolitan region of Belo Horizonte, called Greater Belo Horizonte, is the third most populous of Brazil, after only Greater São Paulo, with 19,672,582 people, first in Brazil and fifth in the world, and Greater Rio de Janeiro, with 14,387,000 people. The city is the sixth most populous of the country. During the 18th century, Minas Gerais received many Portuguese immigrants, mainly from northern Portugal, as well as many enslaved Africans. Belo Horizonte has a notable Italian influence. Around 30% of the city's population have some Italian origin. The Italian culture is present in the cuisine, dance, and language. People of German, Spanish, and Syrian-Lebanese ancestries also make up sizable groups. Religion. Source: IBG 2010. Economy. Belo Horizonte receives large numbers of visitors, as it is in the Brazilian main economic axis, exerting influence even on other states. Both multinational and Brazilian companies, like Google and Oi, maintain offices in the city. The service sector plays a very important role in the economy of Belo Horizonte, being responsible for 85% of the city's gross domestic product, GDP, with the industry making up for most of the remaining 15%. Belo Horizonte has a developed industrial sector, being traditionally a hub of the Brazilian siderurgical and metallurgical industries, as the state of Minas Gerais has always been very rich in minerals, specifically iron ore. Belo Horizonte is the distribution and processing center of a rich agricultural and mining region, and the nucleus of a burgeoning industrial complex. Production is centered on steel, steel products, automobiles, and textiles. Gold, manganese, and gemstones mined in the surrounding region are processed in the city. The main industrial district of the city was set during the 1940s in Contagium, a part of Greater Belo Horizonte. Multinational companies like Fiat, which opened its plant in Betum in 1974, Arsla, and Toshiba have subsidiaries in the region, along with other textile-like Group Rochelle Textile, Ematex and Cedro Textile, cosmetic, food, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, furnishing and refractory companies. Among the companies headquartered in the city we can list steel producer Aca Minas, held by Gerdau, one of the largest multinationals originated in Brazil. Usa Minas, Belgo Minera, held by Arsla, Associta, partially held by Arsla, Mobile Communication Vivo, and Telecom Italia Mobile. Dacine Executive Search, executive coaching company, as well as the NYSE-listed electrical company CEMIG. Leading steel product makers Sumitomo Metals of Japan and Vallourec of France have also plans to construct an integrated steel works on the outskirts of the city. There are also a large number of small enterprises in the technological sector with regional to nationwide success, particularly in the fields of computing and biotechnology, because of both governmental and private funding in the diversification of its economy. The city has become an international reference in information technology and biotechnology, and is also cited because of the advanced corporate and university research in biodiesel fuel. The number of jobs in the information sector has been growing at annual rates above 50%. The Belo Horizonte metropolitan area, composed of 33 cities under the capital's direct influence, is home to 16% of the country's biotechnology companies, with annual sales of over 550 million reals. Projects in these fields are likely to expand because of integration between universities, the oil company Petrobras and the Brazilian government. One of the largest events that ever took place in the city, the Inter-American Development Bank meeting, occurred in 2005 and attracted people from everywhere in the world. For a long time it was marked by the predominance of its industrial sector, but from the 1990s there has been a constant expansion of the service sector economy, particularly in computer science, biotechnology, business tourism, fashion and the making of jewelry. The city is considered to be a strategic leader in the Brazilian economy. The move towards business tourism transformed the capital into a national hub for this segment of the tourist industry. In 2008, the city's GDP was 42 billion reals. or about of $262 billion. In 2008, the Greater Belo Horizonte's GDP was 985 billion reals, or about of $61 billion. In 2008, the city's per capita income was 17,313 reals, or $10,820. In 2007, it was 15,830 reals, about of $9,893. Education. Portuguese is the official national language, and thus the primary language taught in schools. English and Spanish are both taught as second languages. Educational institutions. Several higher education institutions are located in Belo Horizonte, including Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais, UFMG, Centro Federal de Educação Tecnológica de Minas Gerais, CEFETMG, Pontificia Universidade Católica de Minas Gerais, PUC-MG, Universidade do Estado de Minas Gerais, UEMG, State University of Minas Gerais, Centro Universitário de Belo Horizonte, UniBH, Faculdade Pitágoras de Belo Horizonte, UBH, Faculdades Kennedy, FKBH, Centro Universitário, UNA, Universidade FUMEC, FUMEC, Universidade José de Rosário Velano, UNIFENAS, Centro Universitário Newton Paiva, Escola Superior Dom Helder Camara, Especializada em Direito, Faculdade Jesuíta de Filosofia e Teologia, FAJE, Schema Business School, SK, Culture, Food and Drink. Belo Horizonte is internationally known as the capital of neighborhood bars. Every year, the city hosts the Comida de Boteco Festival, pub foods, in an approximate translation, in which a panel selects 41 bars to be visited, and then elects the one with the best appetizers using the theme ingredient of each year. Minas Gerais cuisine is famous for its traditional dishes, like pão de queijo, feijão tropeiro, tutu de feijão, pork ribs, chicken and okra, served with a rich, brown gravy and rice, and other usually heavy, comfort-like food. The city also abounds with pizza places, barbecue houses, fine restaurants of various nationalities and other options. Music. Clube da Esquina is one of the most important musical movements in the musical history of Brazil. It originated in the mid-1960s, and since then its members have been hugely influential in Brazilian and even international music. Some like Milton Nascimento and Toninho Horta achieving worldwide acclaim. Other people involved in the movement include musicians, songwriters, composers, conductors and lyricists, such as Tavinho Moura, Wagner Tiso, Anderson Viana, Milton Nascimento, Lô Borges, Beto Guedes, Flavio Venturini, Toninho Horta, Marcio Borges and Fernando Brandt, among others. The band UET, known for performing with self-built musical instruments, originated in Belo Horizonte under the influence of Walter Smetic and the composition school from Bahia. Also, several nationally famous rock groups have been founded in Belo Horizonte, including Jota Quest, Patofu, Skank, 14 Bis and Anastasia. In later years, Belo Horizonte has been more frequently included in Brazilian tours of foreign mainstream and independent acts. Belo Horizonte is also known as the Brazilian capital of metal, hence the huge number of heavy metal bands and the likes founded there, especially in the 1980s. Most importantly, Overdose, the first metal band from BH and one of the first to gain prominence in Brazil. Sepultura, the world's best-known Brazilian metal band, and Sarcófago, one of the founders of modern black metal. The contemporary Christian music band Diante de Trono is also of Belo Horizonte. A short instrumental song by American band Earth, Wind and Fire is named after the city on their album Now, Then and Forever. Museums. Belo Horizonte features a number of museums including the Mineiro Museum, the Abílio Barreto Historic Museum, Arts and Workmanship Museum, a Natural History Museum, and the UFMG Botanic Gardens, a telephone museum, the Pampulha Museum, the Professor Taylor Gramka Mineralogy Museum, and the UFMG Conservatory. The puppet theatre group Giramundo was established here in 1970, and continues to maintain a puppetry museum hosting a collection of their creations. There is also the Circuito Cultural Praça da Liberdade, located in the central region of Belo Horizonte, is currently the largest cultural circuit in Brazil. In all, there are 11 functioning museums and cultural spaces. Arquivo Público Mineiro, Minas Gerais Public Archive, Biblioteca Pública Estadual Luís de Bessa State Public Library, Cefa Liberdade, Centro de Arte Popular CEMIG Center of Popular Art, Centro Cultural Banco de Brasil, Culture Center Bank of Brazil, Espaço de Conhecimento UFMG Knowledge Space, Horizonte sobre Casa da Economia Criativa, sobre Horizon, the House of Creative Economy, Memorial Minas Gerais Vale, Minas Gerais Memorial, Museu das Minas e do Metal, Mines and Metal Museum, Museu Mineiro, Minas Gerais Museum, and Palácio da Liberdade, Liberty Palace. Besides these, another 3 spaces are already in the process of being implemented. The Casa Fiat de Cultura, Fiat Culture House, Cena and Oi Futuro. The proposal, according to the circuit manager, Cristiano Kumira, is to strengthen the circuit in the world cultural context. We are already on this path and are being careful to ensure that the activities, services and assistance fulfill the needs and expectations of both the local population and the tourists who come to Belo Horizonte from different parts of the world. The circuit is establishing itself as one more source of pride for the people of Minas Gerais, she stresses. Inaugurated in 2010, the Circuito Cultural Praça da Liberdade was created with the goal of exploring cultural diversity, with interactive options open to the public, in an area of great symbolic, historical and architectural value for Belo Horizonte. The opportunity came with the transference of the Minas Gerais government headquarters to the Cidade Administrativa, administrative city, in Serra Verde. After they had been adapted, the old department buildings opened their doors and began to house museums and cultural spaces. The Circuito Cultural Praça da Liberdade is co-managed by the Instituto Sadio Maniani Institute since June 2012, through a partnership signed with the Minas Gerais government, and the museum's spaces are mostly run by private companies, which carry out investments in heritage recovery and building maintenance. According to Kumira, this public-private partnership model allows large companies to participate and effectively contribute to the cultural advance of the city. Beyond their fields of activities, the partners invest in the implantation and maintenance of museums, learning spaces, exhibitions rooms and shows, as well as memory centers that consolidate the history of Minas Gerais, presenting it either for free or at affordable prices. She adds, equals Natural History Museum and the UFMG Botanic Gardens equals. The Natural History Museum and Botanical Garden holds an important treasure of folk art, the Nativity of Pipiripau, created during the 20th century. The craftsman Raimundo Machado synchronizes 586 figures, distributed in 45 scenes, which tell the story of life and death of Jesus. mixed with its variety of arts and crafts. With 600,000 square m of green area, the UFMG Museum of Natural History and Botanic Garden, MHNJB, is a privileged ecological space that enables visitors to experience nature in a rich, multidisciplinary way. For 30 years, the mission of the MHNJB has been to do research, to educate, and to meet the community's demand for service. It covers the areas of anthropology, archaeology, environmental education, natural history, mineralogy, and paleontology. It has an ecological amphitheater, a free art atelier, a greenhouse, and an interactive room. One of its traditional exhibitions is the Pipiripau Nativity Creche. It has also created many attractions for the public such as Palacio das Artes Palacio das Artes, inaugurated in 1970, is the largest and most varied cultural complex in Minas Gerais. It comprises 3 theaters, 3 art galleries, a movie theater, a bookstore, a coffee shop and photography exhibition space. It offers high-quality programs for the several expressions in arts. The building was designed by Oscar Niemeyer and it also houses the Minas Gerais Handcrafts Center. Pampulha Art Museum. Map. The Pampulha Art Museum is located at the Pampulha Lake in Belo Horizonte in a building that originally housed the Pampulha Casino. The building was designed by Oscar Niemeyer, commissioned by the then mayor and future president of Brazil Juscelino Kubitschek in the early 1940s, with external grounds by landscaper Roberto Burle Marx. The building was the first project of Oscar Niemeyer, opened as a casino, and closed in 1946. In 1957, it was reopened as the Art Museum. His design was influenced by the principles of Le Corbusier. The gardens of Burle Marx are in tribute to the tropical green. There is 3 sculptures by Sesquiati, Zamoyski and José Pedrosa. In 1996, it won new multimedia rooms, library, cafe bar, souvenir shop and technical infrastructure. The map has an impressive collection of 1,600 works. The museum is an integral part of the Pampulha Architectural Complex, a watershed in the history of modern architecture in Brazil and internationally. Theatre. Every 2 years, FITBH, the International Theatre Festival of Belo Horizonte, takes place in the city. This attracts artists from all over Brazil and worldwide. With the merger of 2 projects that would happen separately in 1994. One stage-based, organized by the Francisco Nunes Theatre, and the other street-based, idealized by Grupo Galpão, came FITBH Palco and Rua, produced every 2 years, under responsibility from the Belo Horizonte City Hall, through the Municipal Culture Office and the Association Movimento Teatro de Grupo of Minas Gerais. In the program there are street and stage shows, and also seminars, workshops, courses, talks, etc. Dance. Several notable artistic groups originated in Belo Horizonte. Grupo Corpo, which is perhaps the most famous contemporary dance group in the country, was formed in the city in 1975. In March and April is the performance program from FIT promoting contemporary dance in Belo Horizonte. The program presents groups from Belo Horizonte. For this project the priority invitations go to the shows created by groups and choreographers living in the city. The purpose is to take shows and other activities such as workshops, talks and video screenings to the less privileged regions of the city regarding access to cultural assets. Belo Horizonte is also host to the Centro Mineiro de Danças Clássicas School Architecture, under the leadership of the then mayor of city, Juscelino Kubitschek. Architects and artists such as Oscar Niemeyer, landscaper Burle Marx, and painter Cândido Portinari started a type of modern architecture and art here that was greatly developed later with the construction of Brazil's new capital, Brasília, also led by the now President Juscelino, aka JK. It is at the Pampulha Complex that one can see the roots of this new architecture movement. The modern and proto-modern architecture can also be seen all over Belo Horizonte, either in emblematic 1950s buildings such as Edifício Assaiaca, Conjunto JK, Hotel Amazonas and former Hotel Excelsior, all reflecting the modernity culture of the first planned capital of Brazil. Transport. Airports. Belo Horizonte is served by 3 airports. Tancredo Neves, Confines International Airport, dedicated to domestic and international traffic. It is located in the municipalities of Lagoa Santa and Confines, 38 kilometers, 24 miles, from Belo Horizonte, and was opened in January 1984. Plans for gradual expansion to meet growing demand had been already drawn up from the airport's inception. The airport has one of the lowest rates of shutdown for bad weather in the country. It ran at limited capacity until 2005, when a large proportion of Pampulha Airport air traffic was transferred to Confines. There are direct international flights from Miami, Lisbon, Buenos Aires and Panama City. Pampulha, Carlos Drummond de Andrade Airport, dedicated to domestic traffic. Carlos Prates Airport, dedicated to general aviation. Highways. The city is connected to the rest of Minas Gerais state and the country by a number of roadways. Minas Gerais has the country's largest federal highway network. BR-040 connects Belo Horizonte to Rio de Janeiro, going south, and Brasília, going northwest. It also links other cities in the state, such as Juiz de Fora, Conselheiro Lafayette, Barbacena, Sete Lagoas, and Paracatu. BR-262 begins in Mato Grosso do Sul and ends in Espírito Santo, crossing Minas Gerais from west to east. It links Belo Horizonte to Pará de Minas, Oraxá, Manhuacu, Uberaba, Governador Valadares, and Vitória, the capital of Espírito Santo State. BR-381 is an important federal highway. It connects Belo Horizonte to São Paulo. MG-010 is a state highway that connects the capital to the Tancredo Neves International Airport, itself located in the municipalities of Confines and Lagoa Santa, which are part of the metropolitan area of Belo Horizonte. Starting in 2005, several flights were transferred from the Pampulha Regional Airport to the International Airport, to improve access to the International Airport. MG-010 is being expanded, effectively duplicating its lanes. The city is also served by other minor roads such as state highways MG-020, MG-050, MG-030, and MG-433. There is also an east-west expressway, which goes from the city to the nearby industrial centers of Contagium and Betum, together having a population of ca. 900,000, and Anel Rodoviário, a kind of beltway. Indeed, it is not circumferential, but connects many highways, such as the federal BR-1s, so it is not necessary for a large number of cars and trucks to pass through the city center. Many of these roads are in poor condition, but in the last years many revitalization and rebuilding projects have been started. Bus system. The bus system has a large number of bus lines going through all parts in the city, and is administrated by BHTRANS. Among the upcoming projects are the expansion of the integration between bus lines and the metro, with integrated stations, many already in use, and the construction of bus corridors, with lanes and bus stops exclusively for the bus lines, keeping buses from traffic congestions, making the trips more viable for commuters. Railways. Belo Horizonte Metro. A metro started operating at the end of the 1970s. There is one line, with 19 stations, from Vilarinho to El Dorado Station, in Contagem, transporting over 160,000 people daily. The current projects of expansion include Line 2, linking the existing Calafate station to the region of Barreiro, and Line 3, from the city's main bus terminal to Savassi Economical District. Line 2 is planned to be overground, similar to the current line, and Line 3 is planned to be underground, passing through the city's financial center, Praça and Afonso Pena Avenue. Also, Line 1 is planned to be extended to Novo Eldorado Station. Landmarks. Belo Horizonte has several significant cultural landmarks, many of them situated in the Pampulha district, where there are notable examples of Brazilian contemporary architecture. Pampulha Park. The park area includes one of the largest soccer stadiums in the world, the Mineirão Stadium, and the São Francisco de Assis Church, widely known as Igreja da Pampulha, designed by Brazilian modernist architect Oscar Niemeyer. In Pampulha there is also the Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais campus, whose buildings themselves are important contributions to the city's architecture. Other notable buildings include the Mesbla and Niemeyer buildings, in addition to the headquarters of corporations such as Usiminas, Seguros, and Telemag Cellular. Downtown. In the downtown area, landmarks include the Church of São José, the Praça da Estação, Station Square, which is an old train station that now is also the Museum of Arts and Workmanship, the Municipal Park, the famous Sete de Setembro Square, where an obelisk built in 1922 marks the 100 years of Brazilian independence from Portugal. Near central the area, in the Lourdes neighborhood, the Lourdes Basilica is an example of Gothic revival style. The Nossa Senhora de Fatima Church, in Santo Agostinho neighborhood, is situated in Carlos Chagas Square. Both churches are referred to as the Assembleia Church and the Assembleia Square because of their proximity to the state's legislative assembly. Next to the downtown region is the famous Savassi district, known for fine restaurants and as a center of cultural events as well as the best of the city's nightlife. Many landmarks are located there, such as the Praça da Liberdade, Liberty Square, and its surrounding buildings, including the former executive offices of the governor called the Palácio da Liberdade, Liberty Palace, the first building to be finished during the city's planned development in the late 1890s. The government officers moved to the Cidade Administrativa in 2010. This complex is made by a few massive buildings just outside the city. Nowadays, the palaces are being turned into museums. Still on Savassi, the meeting point of many social groups, especially the youth, is Praça da Savassi, Savassi Square, which is not exactly a square, and more a crossing between two major avenues, Getúlio Vargas and Cristóvão Colombo, and gathers some of the busiest bars and pubs, called locally boticos or boticans, in town. Another important landmark is Praça de Papá, Pope's Square, located at a high point south of the downtown area, with its great view of the entire city. It is named for the July 1, 1980, visit by John Paul II, who held a youth mass there. The nearby Parque das Mangueiras, Mangueiras Park, features extensive wildlife, and owing to its considerable size has its own bus service, which operates solely within the confines of the park. On Sundays, Afonso Pena Avenue hosts Latin America's biggest open-air market. This is the Market of Arts and Handicrafts, most commonly known as Feira Hippie Fair. Every Sunday morning 70,000 visitors find food, drinks, clothes, furniture, earrings, shoes and almost anything else. Zoological park and botanical garden. A center for conservation and preservation of animals and plants. It has also developed environmental education projects. The zoo, which encompasses a total area of 1.4 million square meters, is located at the Foundation's headquarters and is regarded as one of the most complete in Latin America. It has a collection of close to 900 animals representing 200 species from Brazil and other parts of the world, as well as the first public butterfly sanctuary in South America. Pampulha Ecological Park is administered by the Zoo Botanical Foundation of Belo Horizonte and was inaugurated in May 21 of 2004. It's 30 acres, 12 hectares, of green area that offers to the population and the tourists a permanent programming of environmental, cultural and patrimonial education. Other protected areas. The city contains the 102 hectares, 250 acres, Baleia State Park, created in 1988 but still not implemented as of 2014. It contains part of the 3,941 hectares, 9,740 acres, Serra de Rola Moca State Park, created in 1994. Human development. The human development of Belo Horizonte varies greatly by locality, reflecting the city's spatial social inequality and vast socio-economic inequalities. There are neighborhoods that had very high human development indexes in 2000, equal to or greater than the indexes of some Scandinavian countries, but those in the lower range, in line with, for example, North Africa. Highest scoring neighborhoods and localities. Carmo, Sion, 0.973. Greater than Iceland 0.968. Cruzeiro, Anchieta, Funcionarios, 0.970. Greater than Iceland 0.968. Grajaú, Gutierrez, 0.965. Greater than Australia 0.962. Belvedere, Mongaberas, Comateco, 0.964. Greater than Australia 0.962. Serra, São Lucas, 0.953. Equal to Japan. Netherlands 0.953. Food as a right. In 1993, under Mayor Patrícia Ananias de Sousa, the city started a series of innovations based on its citizens having the right to food. These include, for example, creating farmers' markets in the town to enable direct sales and regularly surveying market prices, and posting the results across the city. The city's process of participatory budgeting was linked with these innovations, as a result of which the infant mortality rate was reduced by 50% in a decade. There is some evidence that these programs have helped support a higher quality of life for the local farmers partnering with the city, and that this may be having positive effects on biodiversity in the Atlantic rainforest around the city. The city's development of these policies garnered the first Future Policy Award in 2009. Awarded by the World Future Council, a group of 50 activists, including Francis Morlape, Vandana Shiva, Wes Jackson, and Youssou N'Dour, concerned with the development and recognition of policies to promote a just and sustainable future. Vila Viva. The city has undertaken an internationally heralded project called Vila Viva, Living Village, in Portuguese, that promises to urbanize the poorest areas, favelas, relocating families from areas with high risk of floods and landslides but keeping them in the same neighborhood, paving main avenues to allow public transportation, police and postal service to have access. All the work is done with 80% of locals, reducing unemployment and increasing family income. Former Mayor Fernando da Mata Pimentel was nominated for World Mayor in 2005 on the strength of these and other programs. Sports. Football. As in the rest of Brazil, football is the most popular sport. The city's major teams are Atlético Mineiro, Cruzeiro and América Mineiro. The city also has one of the biggest football stadiums in the world, the Mineirão, which opened in 1965. The older Independencia Stadium was the site of the FIFA World Cup 1950 game, when the United States beat England in a 1-0 win. Mineirão, officially called Estádio Governador Magalhães Pinto, was built to provide the city of Belo Horizonte with a larger alternative for Independencia Stadium than the prime venue of the city. The stadium was meant to become the most modern stadium of Brazil and the new home of Atlético Mineiro and Cruzeiro. Construction took almost 5 years, and on 5 September 1965 Mineirão officially opened. Mineirão hardly changed in the following decades, and in the 1990s still had its original capacity. When Brazil won their bid to host the 2014 FIFA World Cup, it was clear that Mineirão needed to undergo a large redevelopment. The project included the complete reconstruction of the bottom tier, an extension of the roof, and further refurbishments to upgrade the stadium to FIFA standards. Building works took a total of 3 years, and were completed in December 2012. The first match at the reopened Mineirão was played on 3 February 2013 with a state championship match between Cruzeiro and Atlético. While Cruzeiro agreed on a lease to play the next 25 years at Mineirão, Atlético have not yet come to an agreement and will keep playing at Independencia Stadium until doing so. Mineirão hosted a total of 6 matches during the 2014 FIFA World Cup, including one round of 16 match and the historical semi-final referred to as Mineirão, in which Brazil lost 1-7 against Germany. The stadium also was one of the playing venues of the 2013 FIFA Confederations Cup. In addition to football, Belo Horizonte has one of the largest attendances at volleyball matches in the entire country. They are played either at Mineirão, home of Brazil's national volleyball team, or at Minas Tennis Club. Tennis. Belo Horizonte is home to 2015 French Open men's doubles champion and former world No. 1 doubles player Marcelo Melo, as well as 2016 Australian Open men's doubles and mixed doubles champion Bruno Soares. International relations. Twin towns, sister cities. Belo Horizonte's sister cities are: official Portuguese page of the City Hall of Belo Horizonte, Portuguese page of the Government of the State of Minas Gerais, education Portuguese PUC-MG, the Pontifical Catholic University of Minas Gerais, Portuguese UniBH, the University of Belo Horizonte, Portuguese UFMG, Federal University of Minas Gerais, Portuguese CEFETMG, Federal Center of Technologic Education of Minas Gerais, English Escola Americana de Belo Horizonte, American School of Belo Horizonte, English SKEMA Business School, SKEMA Business School. Photos, images of Belo Horizonte, architecture Portuguese ARQBH, Portuguese Guia Arquitetônico de Belo Horizonte, tourism Belo Horizonte, information about Belo Horizonte, travel information about Brazil, Belo Horizonte, metropolis on the horizon, Portuguese Belo Horizonte, city portal with services and business links, Portuguese map link, Belo Horizonte street guide and maps, Portuguese Belo Horizonte yellow pages, Portuguese culture in Belo Horizonte, food security, video about Belo Horizonte's receipt of the World Future Policy Award. presentations and papers on Belo Horizonte by Brazilian-Canadian economists Cecilia Rocha, Toronto Food Policy Council Coordinator Wayne Roberts, and former City Food Security Administrator Adriana Arana at Ryerson University's Center for Studies in Food Security. The City That Ended Hunger. Francis Morlape's essay on Belo Horizonte's programs in Yes magazine. Culture. Portuguese. Comida de Boteco Festival of Bar Appetizers.